You know this division well, right? You're saying they might be an underdog, these Steelers. The AFC North's been seesawing a bit. Who wants this thing, right? Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Bengals out. Who do you think ends up winning the division?
I think it's going to end up being Pittsburgh. Honestly, they're sitting at 8-6 right now. And when you have this division that's kind of back and forth, like you mentioned, I think it makes teams battle hardened. And that's why I was mentioning earlier, like Pittsburgh to me is actually set up for a nice little playoff run because they have gone through the ups and downs of a season. They've gone through that adversity and that turmoil. And I think oftentimes when you come out of it and you win a division like I think they're going to do, you get into the playoffs, like that brings you together as a team and gives you a belief that maybe these teams that have been kind of coasting through most of the season, like a New England, they don't have that right now because they've never been in the fire that is definitely surely going to happen throughout a playoff run where you're going to be behind and you're going to be questioning what's going on and if you're going to be able to win. But a team that's already been through that has those veterans on their team like a Pittsburgh, I think they're well positioned for success in the playoffs.
Who do you like in the AFC as a whole? If we take, it's a fun year, right? Because it's not, sadly, not the Chiefs' year. Patrick Mahomes going down with a season-ending injury. You know, it's them being out is urgency for everybody else to take advantage. The Broncos are on top. They've only lost 2 games. Great defense, of course. Texans, great defense. Bills, last couple of weeks have shown some consistency I haven't really seen all season. And then they just got the win over the Pats. Who do you like in the AFC?
Yeah, to me, I always ask myself the question, like, what's the quarterback I trust the most in the AFC? Who's that guy that's going to be able to take your team and bring you back from a deficit with 2 minutes left in the game? You got to score a touchdown to be able to win. And to me, that's Josh Allen. That's the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, he's probably the leader in the clubhouse right now, in my opinion, for NFL MVP. He showed an amazing comeback last weekend against the New England Patriots, and he's the guy I trust to get me what I need down the stretch. I know their defense hasn't always been great, but to me, it's all about that quarterback position and who do I trust and who's got the most experience. Without Patrick Mahomes this year, it's Josh Allen's time.
And over in the NFC is where we actually do find the MVP favorite. I don't know if we can see the odds either for MVP or just the standings of the NFC. It's the Rams. Stafford is like big time. He's just been unbelievable at his age, at his, like, who knew that now would come maybe some of the best highlights that we've seen out of Stafford for over a decade. Let's see, can we see the NFC odds really quick? Who's sticking out to you here? And I know you're thinking quarterback, so where does your head go?
Yeah, I like Matt Stafford. Guy's got experience. He knows what it's like to be on top. He's got a team that's playing great football. Very few holes on that offense, on that defense, and their special teams obviously very well coached. And they got that confidence factor. They got that belief. And when you got a quarterback like Matt Stafford that's playing the way that he is, that's a team that believes that it's their destiny to go back to the Super Bowl and win it.
Joe, so we're saying Rams, Bills, Super Bowl in Santa Clara. I like it.
Yeah, I'll be cheering for the Bills. You know, as a Browns player, as now a Browns fan, we kind of cheer for some of those underdog teams that haven't won their Super Bowl yet. I always kind of have a soft spot for the Lions, soft spot for the Bills, and I love watching Josh Allen play. So I'd love to see him finally be anointed the champion that I think he's deserved for a few years. In
your eyes, who, you can, up to 3, I would love to hear like your top 3 Super Bowl caliber O-lines right now. Who do you like?
Well, Denver's up there. I think they've actually probably been playing the best out of all the offensive lines in the NFL this season. They play so well together. They understand how to open up lanes in the running game. They're giving their quarterback time to throw. And I think they're the offensive line that surprised me probably the most this season. And it's really been a little bit of a margin there between them and number 2.
It's so funny because I feel like we talk about everything low-hanging with the Broncos. They're well coached. Sean Payton's a key. You can put faith in him. And Bo put together 4 quarters. And they've got this defense that's going to carry them to the Super Bowl. If they go to the Super Bowl, it's because of this offensive line. I am convinced. I'm looking at this. They've given up the fewest sacks all season. They're allowing the lowest sack rate in the league. Ben Powers going to come back. I don't know that you could go and ask the really fervent football fans to name the guys on this O-line. You know, people think Garrett Bowles with the baby and Quinn Miners with the snake that he had during the draft. I remember that. But this is a Super Bowl offensive line. I'm so glad that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, they're awesome. You look at their tackle play's been really good. Garrett Bowles is playing great football. My guy, Quinn Miners,
Love him.
grew up right down the road from me. I think he's from Hartford, Wisconsin. Used to play against Hartford's youth football team when I was growing up. And obviously, he's got a great story going to Division III, UW Whitewater. And he's kind of that tough, smash mouth, blue collar guy you got to have as a guard on your team. And McGlinchey out there at tackle. I mean, they're solid all the way across the board. They're giving Bo Nix time to throw. And I think there's a great synergy between their quarterback, between their receivers and their offensive line, understanding where the quarterback needs to be, how they need to run their fakes in the play action game, and giving them the time and the space to be able to find guys down the field. I mean, it's a really good team. And if I don't choose the Buffalo Bills, I'm really liking the Denver Broncos. It's because of that great balance and that great offensive line that they have.
You're making my producer, Cal, so happy because all he talks about is this Broncos O-line. And he was like, please, I hope he says him. I hope he says the Broncos. Do you think they should run more given how good their O-line is?
I don't know. I think they're doing pretty good right now. 12-2, first place in the AFC West.
Fair.
I think they're doing just all right. I mean, you'd love to say as an offensive lineman, yeah, run the ball more, but I think it's always a careful balance between the run and the pass that keeps you dangerous and keeps the defenses on their toes. And, you know, to be able to have that run game when you need it, you know, you're in the playoffs, you're in your 4-minute offense, you're trying to close a game out, you got to have it. But there's going to be a moment when they're behind and they need to throw the ball. And so I think having that balance and giving Bo Nix as many reps as you can in this offense this season, especially with him playing really great football, I think that's a great approach for them.
Joe is kinder than I. Coach Sean Payton, if you were watching, I'm trying to think of who's their matchup this week. Who do the Broncos have? I don't know, but I know that they only had 89 yards on the ground last week. They've only gone over 100 rushing yards.
Right?
Once in the last 5 weeks. So, Coach, not going to cut it for me. Want you to go to the Super Bowl. Okay, I want to ask you about Lane Johnson because he's set to practice. He's been out since week 11. Philly has gone 1-3 since. Not a coincidence. Hurt, Saquon, AJ. They are stars. Has this stretch shown you how important Lane actually is to this offense? Now, actually, that's a dumb question because you, of course, know how important he is. Can you explain to me and to fans how important he is given that?
Well, he's critical. Obviously, we know what he's done throughout his career, protecting the edge, right? Which, if you can't protect your edges, you got no chance because your quarterback's got no space. Maybe he'll be able to step up a little bit, but he's constantly getting squeezed. And Lane has always been really, really good. You can see it there in the run game, opening up those huge lanes for Saquon Barkley. And what that does is it makes the defense afraid, right? Because they're afraid of getting beat with the huge home run, explosive run plays right behind that big guy, Lane Johnson, doing the 360s right there. I love when offensive linemen do the spin when they spin thing. And he's just so important because he sets up their running game. He gives them time in the passing game to make explosive throws down the field, to find A.J. Brown, to find those weapons. And when he hasn't been in there, they've really been handicapped on offense. And I don't think they're good enough as a group or individually out there to be able to win without that offensive line, to be dominant in the run game, to set things up for the pass game.
I want to talk about your Browns.
Ooh, we have to.
After having his best game as a pro, week 14, SHEDEUR took a little bit of a step back against Chicago, tough squad. Has he shown enough for the team to consider him as the next year's starter?
I don't think he's shown enough yet. Asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have been a little bit higher on him, but last week against the Bears did not make a lot of great decisions. He made some really nice throws, which I think it keeps your optimism high as a fan, as somebody that wants to see SHEDEUR take over that spot. But his receivers are playing hot potato with the ball and passing it off to the defenders there from the Bears. So he's not getting a lot of help. He's got 4 offensive linemen that are injured. So it is a little bit difficult to give a true analysis and evaluation of how he is doing and if he can be the franchise quarterback. But I still think with these last 3 games of the season, they're so important because if he can continue to show a little bit of growth, eliminate some of those mistakes that are caused by just not seeing exactly where the defense is and not understanding the coverage, he's shown enough big play ability to push the football down the field, to be able to rise to the occasion. When you need those points, he can get them for you. He's shown a couple weeks ago driving down the field in the 2-minute drill, plunging into the end zone, running the football, making those decisions that he's got the ice water in his veins that you need if you want to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. So optimism still high, but there's still some meat on that bone that we needed to see in these last few games to say that we don't want to draft a first-round quarterback.
Right.
We want to go with SHEDEUR, and we want to build around him with those 2 first-round picks that they have.
They got Buffalo at home this week. Wouldn't that be a great game for Myles to get his 1.5 sacks? One and a half sacks
every week
shy.
is, but I think for him to sack Josh Allen, I think would be a fitting way for him to get the record, because whoever that quarterback is that gives up that sack or gets sacked to break the record, I mean, you're part of that memory. You're part of that moment. You're part of NFL history, right? And I think it's cool. Like Brett Favre was the one when I was a kid, got sacked by Michael Strahan, and those guys were kind of tied. Of course, Brett kind of took a little flop and gave it to him a little bit. But I think it's great, you know, when I think about a pitcher, right? Or if you have a great pitcher and you get your 3,000th hit or you set a home run record or something, like, yeah, you don't always want to be known for that guy that gave that up in that moment. But I think as you get time to be kind of separated from it, it is special to be tied together in NFL history, especially a guy like Josh Allen, who I think most people think he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame when he's done, and Myles Garrett certainly will be in the Hall of Fame when he's done. Have that moment for the NFL, for the history, the legacy of the game, but also, to me, the sack record, that's one of the coolest records, one of the most important records in the NFL.
Because it's so freaking hard to do. It's almost impossible. Are you saying right now that Deion Dawkins should give up the block and just let Myles Garrett go? Like, what are we saying here? What are you talking about?
So this would be my perfect scenario.
Okay.
If I'm a Buffalo Bill fan, if I'm just an NFL fan, not a Browns fan, I'm taking my Browns fan hat off for a second. I would love to see Deion, who's a all-pro, amazing tackle, one of my boys, block, but have Josh Allen hang on to the ball and start running around for a really long time. And they're winning the game. It's the 4th quarter. Myles chases them all over the field. Like he's running 65 yards, and he gets the sack because Josh just hangs onto the football. So it's not any of the offensive linemen to blame. Josh is not getting hurt. He's not making a big play, but Myles gets the record. I think that would be the perfect way for him to get it.
I think Josh does not want to be tied to Myles Garrett for that. I also don't think that Josh or Deion or anybody on that O-line thinks that they necessarily need to help Myles Garrett get home and get to him to get this record. It is so incredible what he's done, especially just with how poorly the team has played. It is hard. You have less opportunities to get sacks when you're always down big in games. How impressed are you with Myles Garrett this year?
I said going into the season that he is the best defensive player in NFL history. Of course, I'm biased. I'm a Browns guy. People maybe were like, well, you know, you forgot about Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White. Yeah, those guys are amazing. Trust me. 3 of the greatest you're talking about right there of all time. Bruce Smith, throw him in there. But what Myles is doing right now is very difficult to contextualize in the context of this season and to think about it. But when we look back and you're able to watch what he's done the whole year, 5, 10 years from now, you'll realize that nobody's ever played the position like he's playing right now. He's getting these sacks, like you mentioned, for a team that's losing for the most part. And to get sacks when you're losing is really hard. Trust me, when we won games, I hardly ever gave up a sack because your quarterback's not hanging onto the ball. He's not forced to try to push the ball down the field. And then when you also consider that Myles is getting double teamed every week, it doesn't matter if he's going against Trent Williams or Deion Dawkins or Lane Johnson, they're double teaming him because there's nobody in the NFL right now or ever that could block Myles one-on-one consistently.